These are some of the unfortunate nicknames Stu used to call me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm TK, and Stu was a very, very important person in my life. He treated me like a daughter, and I considered him the closest thing I had to a dad. My relationship with the Spences began when I was about 12, washing dishes for CK and Pat at Scotty's for pocket money every other Sunday. One day, a wee while after the Spences shut shop at Scotty's, I was walking down Gladstone Road when the world-famous Pimpmobile rolled up. It was CK, and he said, "Get in." So off we went in CK style, revving out second gear, 50 k's in the bike lane, screaming down the road, till we arrived at the World Caf. He marched me inside up to a guy wearing an All Blacks t-shirt 2 sizes too small for him, and said, "Give her a job." Stu, who was a bit more trim, tidy, and less raff back then, stared back at CK unfazed and said, "Alright," and just rolled with it. My hospitality training included being yelled at, sworn at, getting the bash, and always being given the asshole tables. Among other things, it involved covering for Stu, mostly from Pat, after his work meetings turned into a piss-up, meaning he had to secretly evacuate the premises. So there I was, 15 or 16, and running a restaurant. We had our share of disagreements, and people would freak out when they saw a girl my size swearing and yelling at someone as big as Stu. My swearing habits I get from him, my people's skills I got from him, and my management skills I got from him, which says a lot because sometimes his management skills suck. I'd never admit it to him because he always said I was such a know-it-all, but I learnt a shitload about life from Stu. How to behave like a grown-up and work hard, how to make the best of bad situations, how not to be gullible or naive, and everything in between. He helped me get my first car, taught me to back a trailer, moved me to university, and always did something special for my birthdays. Because of him, I got my bar managers at 16 years old and all my wine qualifications and certs, even though it was probably illegal. He'd pull me aside and say to me, "Right, listen here, you little shit. Anyone ask you, you're fucking 18, all right?" And I was like, okay. He taught me that if an opportunity presented itself, to grab it with both hands. So become an opportunist I did. No one at work was allowed to take me to the pub because I was under 18 and Stu had given them the hard word. So one night when Stu was drunk, I took the opportunity to suggest a pub crawl. And it must have been my lucky night because off we went. I knew all his PIN numbers, so getting drinks was easy. He'd start a tab, I'd pay the bill, then would move to the next one. The night went on and Stu was pretty wasted, so I suggested Trish pick us up from Gordon Gecko's. Stu was like, "Gordon Gecko's? Why the fuck would I go there? I hate that bloody place." I was like, real subtle, Stu. Too bad we were at Gordon Gecko's when he made that announcement. So I paid up and we ventured to the PBC where Trish eventually picked us up, but not before he spewed, twisted his ankle on the railway tracks, and I had to carry him there. He was bloody heavy. On the work front, one thing Stu really enjoyed was torturing his staff for a laugh. One night at work, he gave me a wedgie and I had to do my whole shift with ripped undies. Another time we switched pants because he said my ass was so fat he could fit my tweed shorts. I could fit in one leg of his jeans. Stu, on the other hand, had split my shorts down the butt seam and his hairy nut was hanging down the side of his leg. He just looked at me and cracked up laughing. But that's okay, I got him back in other ways. I hated him smoking, so for about a month I hid all his cigarettes in a drawer in the office. He was stoked when he found them eventually and smoked the whole stash. But I reckon I got the last laugh because I licked every single one of them. Knowing that you're gone now, Stu, makes me very sad. And I'll keep missing you every day. But I'll treasure the memories, the many times we shared, and I'll always be so grateful for having you as such a big part of my life. I know Fan does too. My heart goes out to little Chris, Pat, Zane, Dan, Lisa, the rest of the family and the bonds in the States during this difficult time. You're a great man with a big heart, and you're loved and admired by many, Pooh Bear. You're an overly generous, selfless person and will take the shirt off your back for anyone. Your beaming personality and bear hugs will be missed. So hi to Trish and CK and have a pint or two in one of your hideous Hawaiian shirts. You'll have a special place in my heart and I'll be thinking of you always.
Brilliant, Talisa. Brilliant. He taught you all you know. Oh, dear. Hamish, it's your turn. If you can upstage that, mate, good on you.
Welcome everybody here today. I wish it was under another type of party, but unfortunately, and I've already lost my speech. How do you remember it? Oh, hang on. There we go. Welcome everyone from America, actually the world, everywhere. That's where Stu was. And I'd just like to say our association with the Spence family started in 1956 when Dad got a job up there with Mr. Kenneth Spence, who was a huge part of my father's life. And they always kept in contact, and then it came to a point where Stu just needed a little, what would you call it, life attitude adjustment. That's why he was sent to Bruce. As old Stu, he said to me, he said, well, he said, I figured it out pretty quickly. They were both the same men, except one would just hit me. So Talise, that's where you got that from. But he loved Dad and Mum and Dad absolutely loved him like he was a son as well. So, Stuart Spence, this was said from a chap from Australia, a big man with a big heart. You either loved him or you were in love with him. And I'd like to be clear, I loved him like a brother. Stu was only 43, but had packed a fair bit into his life with people, places and experiences that take a lot of folk a lifetime to do. Stu was made of the right stuff, but I do have to say, Pat, somewhere in the gene pool there was a bit of Yeti. Stu lost Trish this year to cancer, which together they battled for some years. And for more years than a lot of us actually sort of knew. When they had realised they had lost that battle, he took her back to the USA so he could look after her with family till she died. A very hard decision for them both. This did break Stewie's heart, but he did say he had been through the worst watching her battle. I spent some time with him, Stewie and Aussie, to see that he's okay. More for Bruce and Nance and myself, just see that he's okay. And talk of a few things that I knew that he might go through. And he was positive on the next stage of his life. He knew he'd be lost for a little bit, and he was, but he had an idea what to do. He always had an idea what to do. We came across Dubbo, and we were only meant to be there a night, and but we stayed there 3. We met the Denvers, old Willie and Fergus, and Fergus was the first brute to say hello to us, and so we had a great time with them. We had a few drinks. And then we met the Barretts, which was Fergus's people, the Barretts. and we had a few more drinks. You don't have just a few with Stu, do you? And then we met this chap called what's his name? Andrew Ryan. He played for the Roos, Aussie Rugby League, and he said we had to stay, so he gave us some tickets to what they call the Town and Country game. It's basically a trials for state of origin. And so we were at this game, we met some more Barretts, and so we had a few more drinks. It was a great day. And upon on leaving on that, but we'd actually picked up some jobs, but they said, come back, learn how to harvest and everything like that. And so that was it. And on leaving, I said to Stu on the fourth day, I said, Stu, I think I've fallen a little bit in love with Dubbo. And old Stu looked at me and he said, I've fallen in love with it, I'm coming back. And he did. He was well looked after there. He made a huge impact on them, as you guys know he does on all of us. One of his brothers said it, he comes in like a tornado, he rips up around, you're all flustered, he goes out like a tornado, but you're still the better for the wear and happy. He must have made a big impact over there, because when I've been talking to a lot of them, they feel they've lost a mate that they've known for years, and in a sense they have, as all of us here know that feeling. I thank them for looking after Stu and letting Stu look after them, because that is Stu. Stu will always live with us, we'll always talk of him, love him, because as great as he was, he did do some dumb stuff that we can all say we witnessed. Didn't bother Stu because he could laugh at himself and he could laugh with other people. He loved a little bit of drink and he absolutely loved people. Stu, I speak for all who know and love you. It was an honour, a pleasure and a bloody laugh to have known you and had you in our lives. Thank you, Stu. Thank you.
Walter.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Walter Spence. I'm the youngest of the uncles of Stu's. And I'm up here on behalf of my brothers, John, Nick and Phil, and my sister in Perth and her husband Nelson and their children. And the Gawk Rogers over there in this part of the world, Western Australia, we miss you, big fella, very much. You've left an indelible mark on us all. Much love from everyone here. And from my wife to Stu, we'll miss your super big bear hugs and cheeky smiles. And his cousins Regan and Aaron and Jordan send their love and best wishes to the family. And I've got a few messages here from Keith Walsh and Claire Santana and Fred Bowen, Trish's brother. So I'll read those out for you. I met Stu when I moved to Houston, Texas. This is from Keith. From Long Island, New York, back in August 2000. I didn't know anybody there except for a few family members that I really had not known. My first day at ATS, this is what you were referring to about his communications company that we worked for, was a complete stranger to everyone there. Stu introduced himself to me within minutes of my arrival, and from there on we were friends for a lifetime. Stu took me under his wing, Talise, and showed me the ins and outs of the satellite communications and the ins and outs of the city of Houston. One can only imagine. He introduced me to a group of his friends and family that I consider to be part of my family today. I had a lot of memorable times and still chuckle about the day when I think of them. My fondest memories of Thanksgiving dinners with Stu and Trish at their place in Houston, and the wild parties that followed, as you can well imagine. We all laughed so hard I had to start wearing diapers, because when I went over there, they weren't, so that there weren't any accidents. Yeah, Stuart Spence will forever be in my heart and prayers. My only comfort is knowing that Stuart and Tricia will be flying together for all time. God bless Stuart and Tricia Spence, and God bless the Spence family from All My Love from Long Island, New York. That's Keith Walsh. Now I've got one here from Fred, as I said, Trish's brother. My family and I are eternally grateful for having the good fortune and counting Stu Spence as part of our family. As fate kindly brought my sister Trisha and Stu together for many years ago, I know too that she was grateful for the love which they shared throughout their journey together. I've got to have a drink. As a brother-in-law, I had not anticipated Stuart becoming such an integral part of our family. His presence at our family gatherings was always such warm, joyful and comforting influence, and his Kiwi's perspective provided a refreshingly honest and straightforward opinion seldom seen in these parts. You can imagine what that was like. To say he installed a welcome dose of realism is an understatement, and I will freely admit that he opened our eyes to a more authentic approach to relationships, which he in turn drew us even closer to him. I'm also very thankful for the privilege of witnessing Stu's frequent selfless acts that he so freely and willingly bestowed upon others. If there were ever a need or a concern expressed, he was there to help. You can imagine it with a sledgehammer opening a safe. You thought it in any way that he could. It didn't matter if you were a stranger or had known you for years. He yearned to help others that were in need. He had more than our fair share of fun times together. However, we always knew that if things ever got serious and help was needed, he was the person who would always rely upon. And I knew he would be committed 110%. Furthermore, I was very grateful for the care and emotional support he provided for my sister during her journey of healing and untimely confronting the inevitable of her struggle. He gave her the strength, support and love which only a devoted spouse could provide. It was truly amazing to witness, and it gave a concerned brother living half a world away great comfort knowing he was there for her. I was so very thankful and proud to call him my brother-in-law, although, as I told him on more than one occasion, I felt the term better brother was more accurate reflection of the relationship we developed. I've heard it said that a measure of successful life is reflected by the number of friends one has accumulated. However, it is my personal belief that a more accurate measure is the number of friends one can actually count on. And you can see that here today and by the people that are around the world watching. Regardless of the measuring stick, it is evident Stu had a very successful life, his friends too numerous to count, and I'm convinced that he could depend on any one of us if needed, if only to return the dedication and support that he provided all of us. He was always there for his friends and family without concern or complaint. When it really matters, Stu's willingness to help others was unmatched and unparalleled. Stu has indeed been an inspiration to me, and I thank God for the time that I had with him and for the wonderful example he provided me and others. Stu showed genuine concern for his fellow man, even when some might not find it acceptable to do so. He offered help to the others regardless of any inconvenience incurred. Yeah, well, that's true. And he was devoted to others through both good times and bad. I know we can feel remorseful and cheated at times like this, and rightfully so. However, I also feel incredibly grateful for Stu's life and will do my very best to honour him by sharing with others of the wonderful virtues that made him such an incredible friend, brother, father, uncle and son. Farewell to my brother, and I look forward to, with great anticipation, to being reunited with you in eternal life. Now this is from Claire Santana, and she's got a bit of sympathy for Lisa in this. To the Spence family, thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you my condolences and to say a few words about Stuart. There are no words to express the tremendous empathy you had from me. In times like these, we tend to make a person seem like a saint. Well, we're not doing that with Stuart today. With no faults. My countless bruises and black eyes from brotherly horsing around, courtesy of Stuart, would definitely put him back in the naughty list. He never realised that I did not want to play tackle. Frankly, Lisa, you must have been one tough girl growing up with that brother of yours. And Lisa said to me yesterday, yeah, tackle was all on. Having said that, Stuart gave me much more. His unconditional brotherly love never faltered. From all that rough exterior, he was one big soft guy with a heart of gold. Just ask my daughter, with whom he wore a tutu and danced around. Can you imagine Stuart with a tutu on? Well, we've got photos of that. That'd be worth seeing. Most of his unsolicited advice was often spot on. No matter if it was over a cup of tea or a few beers, he always made time to talk and listen. He was very generous with his time, and his big heart was enough for everyone. He also kept an eye out to keep me safe when we went out, although somehow I was always the designated driver. He focused on the good and gave everyone a chance. Most of his grudges only lasted until the next encounter. Everyone who knew Stu felt his larger-than-life presence, and that it was what attracted so many people to him, including myself. His willingness to help anyone in need was widely known. He knew that he knew who he was and never made excuses for himself. What you saw is what you got. We got plenty, but we need more. In writing these words, I found myself reliving many of our memorable moments together. But the one I keep going back to is our last time. We said goodbye, but not before acknowledging that what we meant to each other. Not what we usually did, but somehow the need to say it was important then. I am so grateful for that. Pat. Each time we talked about mothers, he had only but praise, love and devotion toward you. He often spoke of what a big help you had been to Tricia and him, and it was truly great to see that relationship in action last year in Houston. We hope to see you there real soon. Christopher, your dad loved you so very much, always, from day one. I could go on telling you how much I love Stuart or what he means to me, but there are no words or time to try. I already miss his humour, his name calling, cooking, the squinting of his eyes, his zest for life, his unconditional love, and just him. The brother I never wanted to have, but was so lucky to have had in my life. Thank you, Claire Santana. I just want to close on saying what a tremendous privilege it was and is to get up here and to have known Stuart, and how important it is our families are to us. You know, and We make mistakes in our lives and we have regrets. And since Stuart lost Trish, I'd often wanted just to ring and see how he was, but I just kept putting it off. I thought, no, I don't want to seem like a nosy bugger and interfering it, so I just left it. But then when he passed away, I thought, bugger it, I should have done that. So I encourage you all, to make those phone calls, stay in contact with your family, because you only get one family. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick, you get your family. So, okay, thank you.
That's cool. Claire Santana was Trish's chief bridesmaid. So it's for anyone that needs to know. And it's an emotional coaster ride. So it's my pleasure now to ask Caroline to come up and say a few words. And Aaron, would you like to follow her, mate? And then we've got a couple more to read, so...
Hello, everyone. Stu, you've given me stage fright. Just look at how many people are here for you today. It's a tribute to a man that you were to everybody here. I'm Caroline, an Irish Kiwi, or as Stuart used to call me, Mrs. Doyle. I arrived in Gisborne 8.5 years ago with my partner, Stefan. And we were very fortunate to cross paths with Stu very soon after arriving here. I remember clearly the night I met Stuart and Tricia. They were introduced to me as the tallest couple in Gisborne, which was followed by a tremendous belly laugh from Stu. Then I had the firmest handshake I've ever had in my life. He nearly crushed all of my bones in my hand. Stuart, it was a pleasure to have known you, and a privilege to call you a true friend. Right from the start, we were at ease with you and perfectly comfortable in your company. You helped us hugely with our business, offering advice, support, and friendship. Stu, you were a big man with a very, very big heart, just like an enormous teddy bear. With your huge smile and soft, tender eyes, you lit up the room you walked into and touched the heart of everyone who knew you. You are an honourable man, a man true of your word, and a man not afraid to open your mouth and to speak the truth. You liked helping others and never expected anything in return. You had a wicked sense of humour, and you were one of the few people I know who could bring a whole room full of people to tears from laughing just listening to telling your tales. It was always a delight to be in your company and to spend a night having a barbecue or a few wines. Our raised vegetable box you helped us build is filled with delicious-looking agria potatoes, just about ready to be harvested, and we will think of you when we eat them. Yum, yum, yum. You introduced Stefan to trout fishing in New Zealand, and it was with you that he caught his first trout. Our redwood outdoor table won't be the same without you, and we will cherish our memories and all the evenings we spent together. I'll never forget you asking to borrow Stefan's French rugby jersey, and you pretending to be a Frenchman. Oh. Stuart, I feel extremely fortunate to have known you. You have left a huge gap in mine and many people's lives. It is a huge loss to all of us and to Gisborne. My lasting memory of you is after you took Trish's ashes out to sea. You returned to shore like a gallant warrior. Now,